That moment right there, that's the moment this case turned. Today we're going inside State versus Marcus Bell, and we're breaking down the single most decisive confrontation of the entire trial. The prosecutor versus the defense, head-to-head, with everything on the line. Here's what you need to know. Marcus Bell is charged with e.g., aggravated burglary and assault. The prosecution says the evidence places him at the scene beyond any doubt. The defense says the case is built on a shaky timeline and a witness who can't keep his story straight. Tonight, we put it all on the table. So here's the question I want you, the jury watching at home, to keep in the back of your mind for the next 15 minutes. Does the prosecution have enough to put Marcus Bell away, or did the defense just find the crack that brings this whole case down? By the end of this video, I want to know what your verdict would be. Drop it in the comments. Let's start with the evidence the prosecution built their entire case around. Watch this. This is the moment the prosecutor plays the surveillance footage from the gas station, timestamped 11:47 p.m., 11 minutes after the 911 call came in. Now let's stop right here, because this is where the prosecution's whole timeline locks into place. Notice three things. First, the jacket. The prosecutor is going to come back to this jacket again and again. It matches the description given by the responding officer almost to the detail. Second, the timestamp. 11 minutes is the gap the prosecution needs to close. If they can prove Bell could realistically travel from the scene to this gas station in under 11 minutes, the alibi the defense is building starts to fall apart. Third, and this is the part a lot of viewers miss, watch how the prosecutor doesn't just show the clip and move on. They have the lead detective walk the jury through it, second by second. They're not asking the jury to believe the footage means something. They're showing them, piece by piece, so the jury reaches the conclusion themselves. That's a much harder thing for the defense to undo later. But the defense isn't sitting still. Listen to this objection. They're not challenging whether the footage is real. They're challenging the chain of custody, who handled this footage, how it was stored, and whether anything could have altered that timestamp. That chain of custody question is going to come roaring back in the next segment, because it's exactly what the defense uses to set up their cross-examination. This next part is, honestly, the reason people watch trial coverage. The prosecution's key witness, the gas station clerk who claims he saw Bell that night, is now on the stand, and the defense attorney is about to take him apart. Watch his face right here. Zoom on witness. That hesitation, that's not nothing. The defense just asked him to confirm the exact words he used in his statement to police 3 days after the incident, and he can't do it. And here's the follow-up. Play next clip. The attorney isn't raising their voice. They don't need to. They're just laying the witness's own words next to each other. What he told police that night, what he told the detective a week later, and what he's saying right now on the stand. 3 different versions. That's the kind of inconsistency that juries remember. From a legal standpoint, this is textbook impeachment by prior inconsistent statement. The defense isn't trying to prove Bell is innocent in this moment. That's not the goal of a cross. The goal is much simpler. Make the jury doubt this one witness. And if the entire identification of Bell rests on this one person's memory of a dark parking lot at midnight, that doubt goes a long way. Now we jump ahead to closing arguments, and this is where the prosecution throws everything they have. Listen to the language here. The prosecutor isn't reciting evidence anymore. They did that already. Now they're telling a story. They're asking the jury to picture the victim's family, to picture that night, to picture the moment everything changed. Here's my take as someone who's watched a lot of these. Closing arguments work because they're the only part of the trial where attorneys are explicitly allowed to be persuasive rather than just factual. The rules of evidence are gone. This is pure advocacy. And juries are human. Even when a judge instructs them to decide based only on the evidence, the emotional framing of a closing argument shapes how they remember that evidence. That's not a flaw in the system. It's just how human memory and persuasion work, and both sides get to use it. And here's the moment it all came down to. So that's the case. The prosecution built their timeline around that surveillance footage and backed it up with witness testimony. But the defense found real cracks in both, especially during that cross-examination. Now I want to hear from you. Based on everything we just walked through, what's your verdict? Drop it in the comments, and let's talk about it. And if you want to see the full cross-examination breakdown, I've got that link below. See you in the next one. Source footage. Only use courtroom footage that is publicly released by the court, a credible news outlet, or the official trial livestream. Many courts release these recordings directly. Check the relevant county/state court's public records or media portal before sourcing from third-party re-uploads.